I've held a secret so profound it demanded a lifetime of sacrifice. Deep within a hidden valley, swallowed by ivy and moss, stands a crumbling stone archway. It's not just a historical artifact. It's the forgotten mouth leading into the earth, a testament to a dream. My name is Alina, and for 30 years this archway and the silent valley it guards have been the center of my entire life. The powerful lost dream was Ethelgerd. It was a vision of a self-sustaining city, founded centuries ago by thinkers and artists, designed to run purely on sustainable energy and communal harmony. It was a perfect fragile concept. The outside world, driven by greed during the industrial ages, sought to extinguish it. They couldn't crush the idea, so they simply buried it. The archway was the only remaining echo of that forgotten age. My family were archaeologists. We were the keepers. Our duty, passed down through generations, was to maintain the subtle ecological balance of the valley, ensuring the dormant energy systems remained viable and, most importantly, ensuring Ethelgerd's existence remained a secret, safe from corporate exploitation. We made profound sacrifices, living in isolation, foregoing modern comforts and accepting the burden of a hope we might never see realized. My grandfather, a former keeper, told me the prophecy: the world will forget Ethelgerd, but Ethelgerd must never forget the world. When the outside is most consumed by its own destructive excess, the guardian will appear, and the dream will awaken. The deepest shadow in my life was Kale. He was the keeper of the neighboring sector, a man whose life was as steeped in duty as mine. We grew up together, bound by the solemn vows of the keepers, sharing the secret language of the valley's ancient systems. We fell in love, a quiet, inevitable passion nurtured by our shared purpose. We planned to marry, to continue the silent vigil together, but 10 years ago Kale left. He walked through the archway and never returned. His goodbye was cryptic, final. He said, "I have to leave the shadows, Alina. I have to become the wall before the world realizes the dream still stands." I never understood the coldness in his eyes, the finality of his departure. I believed he had chosen an easy life, abandoning the burden of our shared hope for the comforts of the modern world. I buried my love and focused only on my duty, allowing my heart to harden against his perceived betrayal. In the years that followed, the external threats intensified. A massive energy conglomerate, Orion Industries, began buying up lands surrounding our valley. Their relentless expansion, fueled by devastating fossil fuels, was a constant menace. Their surveying drones often breached our boundaries, threatening to expose our hidden systems. We keepers were constantly fighting a shadow war of sabotage, rerouting drones and repairing damaged fences, but Orion was just too powerful. The head of Orion Industries was Victor Thorne, a cold, brilliant billionaire whose face graced every financial magazine. He was relentless, utterly focused on monopoly. He was a man I hated with a pure, white-hot passion for everything he represented. The final crisis arrived 6 months ago. Orion began drilling dangerously close to the valley's main subterranean energy nexus. If they breached it, the entire self-sustaining system of Ethelgerd would be rendered useless. The centuries-long dream would be permanently extinguished. We keepers were helpless against their legal and financial power. But then a miraculous thing happened. Orion's drilling suddenly stopped. Victor Thorne, in a highly publicized, shocking move, abruptly purchased the entire land surrounding our valley from his own subsidiary and declared it a private, permanent conservation zone. He immediately ceased all drilling. The dream was safe. The shock was immense, but the mystery deepened when Victor Thorne, the powerful CEO, arrived at the valley gate. He wasn't in a convoy, but a single, battered utility vehicle. He walked through the overgrown brush, through the silent valley, and stopped directly beneath the ancient archway. I confronted him, ready to unleash years of hatred against the man who represented everything we fought against. "What do you want, Thorne? Are you going to hold this land for ransom? Are you finally here to finish the job?" Victor Thorne turned, and the cold mask that graced the magazine covers fractured. His eyes were haunted, his face gaunt, etched with an exhaustion that went beyond corporate stress. It wasn't Victor Thorne standing there. It was Kale, I gasped, the air catching in my throat. "Kale, you became him." He nodded, the movement painful. "I didn't abandon the dream, Alina. I became the wall." The threat wasn't just external. The threat was that I was the only one capable of becoming powerful enough to save Ethelgerd from itself. He explained everything. 10 years ago, he realized the only way to protect Ethelgerd from Orion's inevitable reach was to neutralize Orion from the inside. He wasn't running from the burden, he was running to a greater one. He had spent 10 years shedding his identity, climbing the financial ranks, sacrificing every shred of personal morality and warmth to become the ruthless CEO Victor Thorne. The coldness and power I hated were the necessary weapons for his silent war. The prophecy wasn't about a mysterious arrival, Alina, he whispered, his voice cracking with the strain of his double life. It was about me. The destructive excess had peaked, and the guardian had to appear not to guard the perimeter, but to guard the owner's chair. I had to become the predator to protect the fragile hope. The pain of his sacrifice was visible on his face. The isolation, the public hatred, the calculated cruelty he had to embody. He had lived the ultimate lie, pushing away the woman he loved and carrying the weight of the ancient dream, all alone just so he could acquire the legal and financial power to save it at the critical moment. He pulled a small silver key from his pocket and pressed it into my hand. The land is secured, Alina. The trust is impenetrable. Ethelgerd is safe for another 5 centuries, but Cale is gone. He died the day he put on the Victor Thorne suit. He turned to walk back toward the outside world, back toward the necessary lie of the CEO's life. I watched him go, tears streaming down my face, realizing the depth of the devotion I had mistaken for betrayal. He was not a deserter. He was the silent guardian of our old dream, a profound sacrifice that cost him everything. He chose the shadows and the eternal burden of power all so I could continue the peaceful, quiet vigil beneath the sun. The mystery of his departure was finally unveiled, and the emotional weight of his enduring devotion settled on my heart, heavy and unending. Thank you for listening to my story. If you are moved by this tale of sacrifice and hidden devotion, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. See you next time.